And just let us, Randy Preston here, Hockey 605s this week on the ice.
I'm Carol McKee.
So there we go. We got that out of the way.
We forgot that earlier anyway.
Yeah, no, we did. You spent the week out in Rapid City.
I did.
The girls JV or the girls varsity tournament.
It was a fantastic tournament. Tracy and Chris Veazey and Ted Schultz and his wife just they were fantastic hosts of the tournament. Great event and some wonderful girls hockey. I'm really eager to tell you all about it. Very
cool. And I spent the weekend in the cold air down in Yankton at the boys JV tournament. They're at the Kiwanis Ice Center.
I did check in on the games once in a while.
We had a good time.
Yeah. There's some good battles.
Yeah, it was an interesting tournament, and we'll talk quite a bit about it a little bit later in the show. But thought we'd take a moment on this show because of all the action in boys JV, girls varsity, and the upcoming boys varsity tournament. That's a whole lot to cover.
Yes.
I didn't want to sell short the junior and the pro report. So why don't we start the program off with the junior report?
Sounds like a great plan.
And we'll go from there.
All right. So what happened in junior?
Well, we've got the North American League teams, Brookings Blizzard and the Aberdeen Wings. Brookings played a home-and-home series with the Austin Bruins last week. They had a Wednesday night game in Austin. Blizzard couldn't overcome an early lead by the Bruins. They took a 2-1 loss, unfortunately.
Darn it.
Lone Blizzard goal occurred midway through the third. Nate Caldwell goal from Christopher Brune. Ryan Kubik took the loss. He stopped 25 of 27 shots on the night. Now, Saturday night, the two teams took the ice at the Larson for a rematch. Austin got out to an early lead, but the Blizzard stormed right back. Goal from Connor Hutchins. Assist to TJ Samick and Victor Lindell got it to 2-1. That was at the end of 2.
Okay.
Third period was all Blizzard. Goals by Bo Machad from Joe Anderson and TJ Samick, and Nate Caldwell, unassisted, gave the Brookings the lead at 3-2 and the win on the night.
All right.
Ryan Kubik got the win. 19-21 shot stopped, and overall a good 2-point weekend for the Blizzard.
That's respectable.
That is not bad. That is certainly not bad. They've had a tough season up there, and just getting those wins and getting those extra 2 points kind of help them. So, Aberdeen played. The Wings played 2 games against the Magicians this weekend. Minnesota Magicians.
And were they?
They're a team out of the Twin Cities area.
Okay.
They had the 2 games at the Odie on Friday and Saturday night.
Okay.
Friday night, the Wings got behind 3-0 by the end of 2, and they mounted a comeback. In the third, there were goals for the Wings from Colin O'Neill with an assist to Tucker DeYoung and Colin Raver. A goal from Bjorn Sigurdarsson on the power play from Tanner Okeson and Victor Ostling. And another goal by Eric Moser from Jackson Graham and Tucker DeYoung.
That's a lot
3
of goals
to tie it up. Unfortunately, that wasn't enough. The Magicians magically scored another goal in the third.
Oh, I don't like that.
4-3 defeat. Andrew Shortridge took the loss in net. He stopped 21 of 25.
Oh, darn it.
So not so much luck on Friday night. Here we go to Saturday night.
Okay.
2 teams match each other up again in the Odie.
Back at the Odie.
The Wings scored very early in the first period. Jackson Graham, a goal from with an assist from Bjorn Sigurdarsson and Will Hammer. That was for the 1-0 lead, but that was a short-lived lead, unfortunately. Magicians would score 4 unanswered goals before Drew Dorian would get another one on the power play goal in the third period. With the assist to Tanner Okeson. Minnesota would score another with just under 3 left in regulation. Wings could get no more. They took a 5-2 loss on the night. Luke Kinea took the loss, stopping 17 of 21. Aberdeen had 38 shots on goal.
Wow, 38 shots on goal. And could only get 1 in.
And it could only get 2 in the net.
2 in.
So next up for the Wings, a Thursday night tilt in Bismarck.
Okay.
Followed by a Friday-Saturday series at the Odie against the Blizzard. So we've got our 2 South Dakota teams taking each other on up there in Aberdeen.
That will be a fun time up there.
They would
rivalry going.
Oh yeah, just a little. They probably would have liked to have done a home and home.
Yep.
But the Larson's a little bit busy this weekend.
Oh yeah, they got a few games going on there.
Yeah, they do.
We'll be there checking those out.
So in the standings, nothing really much has changed. Brookings has gained 2 points. They're still 3 points behind Aberdeen in 5th place in the Central. Austin and Minot have both locked in playoff positions already. Austin leads the division with 75 points, and Minot's right behind him with 70 points.
Okay.
And I think there's one more playoff spot available in the division.
And so they're battling Bismarck for that
They're
one.
battling Bismarck. They're 10 points behind Bismarck. They've got only 7 games left, so it's not really looking very good for either of the South Dakota North American League
Darn
teams
it.
to make the playoffs this year.
Well, it'll be what it'll be. And
It will be.
still getting some good hockey in.
Oh, certainly. So, on to the other junior team in South Dakota, the Sioux Falls Stampede in the United States Hockey League. The Herd continued their 10-game road trip for 3 this weekend. 3 on the
Wow.
road. They
That's
had
a lot of games in
It's a
one
lot
weekend.
of games, and particularly since they could not have played the games further away from Sioux Falls.
Where were they at?
Youngstown, Ohio, against the
that's
Youngstown
right.
Phantoms. A game on Friday night and a game on Saturday night, and then they took on the Team USA U18 team on Sunday afternoon before driving back to Sioux Falls overnight on
Wow.
Sunday night.
At least they have that nice big press.
Oh, yeah. Well, the Herd continued their road trip, heading to Youngstown for 2 games against the Phantoms.
Phantoms.
Phantoms. It's Phantom Fireworks. Have you ever heard of Phantom Fireworks?
I have.
Yeah, that's
They
they
have
own
that
the team.
team.
Yeah,
Okay.
so they've all the whole team jerseys with the hooded Phantom and all
Yeah.
the purple colors, and
Yeah,
kind of
cool.
interesting. First and only 2 games of the year with the hot second place team from the Eastern Conference. Unfortunately for the Herd, a long weekend in front of them. Friday night, the Phantoms would score at least 2 goals each period en route to a 7-3 defeat of the Stampede. Herd had goals from Dakota Joshua, Cooper Marody, and Colin Peters.
Okay.
Steph Leckus took the loss. He stopped 38 of 34, or of 28 of 34.
Okay.
Excuse me. Saturday night, much of the same. Youngstown scored 1 in the first, 2 in the second, 3 in the third. 6-2 stomping of the Stampede. Sioux Falls had goals from Parker Toomey and Clint Lewis only. Leckus again took the loss in net, stopping 14 of 18. Art Bryce stopped 4 of 6 in relief of Stephanos, excuse me. Tough 2 games against a very, very hot Youngstown
Yeah.
Phantoms.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, the Phantoms, they really spent most of their season down around 5th or 6th place in the league, and they're the hottest team in the USHL right now.
Oh, wow.
And unfortunately, the Stampede comes up against the hottest team when they're hot.
Yeah.
Herd wasn't done for the weekend. They did have that afternoon tilt on Sunday, 3 o'clock against Team USA, so they took on the road to the Ice Cube in Ann Arbor.
The Ice Cube,
The
huh?
Ice Cube, yes, and this is the last year that Team USA is playing in the Ice Cube. They purchased a new facility in Dearborn, if I remember right, and they'll be
Oh, I
moving
think I heard
the
about that.
program to Dearborn next year. But unfortunately for the Herd, it was a rough weekend. Would continue. The U18 scored early and often, netting 2 in the first, 4 in the second, 2 in the third, for an 8-2 shellacking of the Stampede. Tough game.
Sounds like our Herd guys were just kinda beat up.
They
and
were a little tired, I'm thinking. Herd had goals from Kiefer Bellows and Cooper Marody. Art Bry took the loss. He stopped 14 of 20. Stephanos Leckus stopped 10 of 12 in relief.
Okay.
So, next weekend, no easier for the Herd. They travel to Omaha to take on the 3rd-place Lancers. That's on Friday night. Saturday night, they hop on I-80 and head down to Lincoln to take on the Lincoln Stars on Saturday night. And then on Sunday afternoon, another game, this time against the Waterloo Blackhawks in Waterloo on the Big Ice. So they've got a tough weekend ahead of them. And then I believe another weekend of road games the weekend after that. And then they finally return home on the 26th and 27th.
And I'll bet they'll be glad to get home.
They will be glad to be home.
Yeah.
So,
Well, get your rest, guys. Get it when you can, right?
yeah. Good news for the Stampede is that the teams around them had tough weekends as well.
Oh, well, good.
So they remain in 4th place. Pretty good lock in 4th place with 55 points in the
Okay.
Western Conference, so they are still in a playoff spot. Sioux City has really risen above the crowd. They have 69 points. Tri-City is 66 points. Omaha has 62 points, and Sioux Falls has 55. Those are the top 4 in the
Okay.
Western Conference. Des Moines is chasing Sioux Falls right now. They have 52 points. They're 3 points behind Sioux Falls.
And is that one of the upcoming games?
We
that
do
you
have a game
mentioned?
against them coming up.
Okay.
And then they also have Fargo and Waterloo tied at 46 points. And Waterloo's been on quite a streak lately.
Okay.
One other bit of news for the Stampede. They did pick up a trade this last week at the deadline. They picked up Mickey Isamont. He's the leading scorer for the Fargo Force. So they
Oh.
got a little bit more forward power coming into the team. And that could prove very valuable to the Stampede down the road.
Sometime I want to do a whole talk about the trades and and
Yeah,
how that works
it's an
in the middle of the
interesting
season.
it's an interesting deal. So on to the Rapid City Rush very quickly. Some quick finals for the Rush once again. Wednesday night, the Rush traveled to Wichita. They were defeated by Wichita 3-2 in overtime, but they did pick up a point, which is valuable, and as you'll see here in a little bit. Friday night, the Rush traveled to Kansas City to play Missouri, and 3-2 shootout victory for the Rush.
All right.
So 2 points on Friday night. Jesse Schultz and Cody Ferreira had goals for the Rush. Cale Kardashian had the game-winning shootout goal for the Rush. They had a rematch on Sunday afternoon. The Rush had a 3-0 victory on Sunday.
Well
so
done.
5 points on the week.
Great.
Not a bad deal. Cody Ferreira, Jesse Schultz, and Kevin Harvey each had goals for the Rush in the win. So this week, Rapid City takes on the Allen Americans
Again.
3 times.
3 times?
And Allen is in first place.
Yeah.
Okay? They have a Tuesday night game, a Friday night game, and a Saturday night game, all in Rapid City.
They're in Rapid City.
Yes. So if you're a Rush fan, even if you're
there.
not a Rush fan, get out and support the Rapid City Rush this week. They need some energy in that building. They're taking on a tough Allen Americans
They are
team.
a tough team.
And they can use the points right now.
And at home, right, would be a great place to get those points.
Certainly. Certainly. Well, that wraps up our pro and junior report for the week. Carol, you want to talk a little bit about one of our sponsors here?
You bet. We want to do a quick shout out to Home Federal Bank. Home Federal Bank are such great supporters of youth sports. They are wonderful supporters of youth hockey, and here on Hockey 605 help us out with live streaming of games, all kinds of different aspects. The digital tournament programs that we've done. And Home Federal Bank, there's probably one in your town. Stop by and tell them thanks for their wonderful support of youth hockey, if you would. And remember what they always tell us there at Home Federal Bank is that it's your time to shine.
There you go. There you go. So, moving into our varsity hockey report, which is a little more of a tournament report this week, because we got a lot of tournament action to talk about.
We do have a lot of tournament action to talk about.
So we'll start with the boys JV.
All right.
And that was where I was this last weekend, and I saw actually 15 incredible hockey games.
Well, you got a few more than I did, but mine were great quality.
It was such an interesting week, and there really wasn't a runaway game. There was one runaway game the entire week. Only one game went to runtime, and that's the first time I think I have ever seen that in a boys junior varsity tournament, where there was only one runtime game.
Really?
Yeah. The games were all really that tight.
Wow.
So we'll start on with the play-in game. That was the first game at 8 o'clock in the morning on Friday.
Okay.
9 o'clock in the morning on Friday, excuse me. And that was the number 9 and number 8 seeds playing in for the chance to get into the tournament. That was the Huron All-Stars taking on the Yankton Bucks. And 5-3 victory for Huron in that game.
Okay.
Not really necessarily, a little bit of a surprise in that Yankton was the 8 seed and Huron was the 9 seed. But such is life. That's kind of the way things go. Yeah. Probably the only game during the weekend that I saw that Yankton really didn't play up to their potential. And you're going to hear a lot about Yankton on this report, not only because they hosted the tournament, because there's some surprises coming.
Okay.
All right. So the next game a little later in the morning was the 6 seed versus the 3 seed. The 6 seed Watertown Lakers taking on the 3 seed Rushmore Thunder. And that was a 3-1 victory for Rushmore. Nothing surprising there at all. Rushmore really dominated the play in that game.
Okay.
Rushmore had a very, very physical type of play. Very, very physical type of play. There are, just to let you know as well, there are DVDs available for all of these games. You can check out the Hockey 605 website for more information. And according to Randy, who was telling me over the weekend, he said the DVDs were kind of flying out the door.
Yeah.
There was a lot of interest in the games.
Well, there are some great games. People want to capture those memories and preserve
certainly.
them.
And Randy and the crew down there in Yankton did kind of a cool thing. They did set up a streaming computer attached to a monitor out in the lobby. So if you weren't in watching the game, you could actually sit out in the lobby. They had some couches set up around a little area, and this monitor up on top of a big, and you could just sit there and lean back and watch the hockey game.
How fun is that?
Where it was warm.
In the warming room.
There you go.
We had people that were telling us that they were sitting in the stands watching the game and checking on the boys' JV tournament.
There you go.
On their phones.
So moving on, we had the next play-in game, which was the early afternoon game on Friday. The 7-seed Sioux Falls Flyers taking on the 2-seed Aberdeen Cougars, and a much closer game than one would have anticipated. It was a 4-2 victory for Aberdeen.
Oh, wow.
But Sioux Falls really did a nice job on Friday afternoon of really putting up a fight. The game ultimately wasn't all that close, but if I recall, through the first couple periods, it was a really, really close game.
Yeah.
So
I have a fun one to tell you about, too.
No, very cool. Probably the premier game of the day on Friday, the 4 and 5 seed. The 5-seed Oahe Capitals taking on the 4-seed Sioux Center Storm.
And we love 5-4 games.
Oh, absolutely. And I tell you what, it was one for the ages, to be honest with you.
Oh.
It went down to, as I recall, just a few seconds left in the game when one of the players from Sioux Center scored the game-winning goal to get it out. Been in a tie for quite a bit of the third period for a 5-4 victory for Sioux Center.
Wow. The 5-4 was a 5-4.
The 5-4 was a 5-4 victory, and it was a heck of a game. As I recall, and once again, the games are just kind of floating around in my brain, so I'm not exactly sure what I'm remembering, but I believe that game, if I recall, I think Oahe came out first and scored like 2 or 3 goals in the first period, and then Sioux Center came back and scored 2 or 3 goals in the second period to tie it. Then they each scored a goal in the third and bring it up to that final, and that final was just craziness. But what a game.
It sounds like a great one.
What a game. And if you really have to watch the stream on that game or purchase the DVD, trust me, it's worth your time. Worth your time. And then the last game of the evening was the final game, the 1-8 game, as it turned out to be, the play-in team versus the number 1 seed Brookings Rangers taking on Huron All-Stars. And really not much of a contest. 8-1 Huron, or 8-1 Brookings, over Huron.
That's ironic. 1-8 was an 8-1.
And, you know, I was a little bit disappointed that night. I thought Brookings came out very flat in that game. I had anticipated that game was going to go quite a bit faster in terms of getting into runtime, and because those two teams had played each other a couple times during the season, and it was never a contest. But Brookings just didn't seem to be very energetic on Friday night for that game. But still, with an 8-1 victory, you can't really fault them.
Sometimes that first game, when you have that 1-8, there's not quite the energy for the game.
Yeah.
One really doesn't have as much to play for.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. So here we are. It's the consolation play-in game now on Saturday morning at 8 o'clock. This is the loser of basically the 2-7 game, I think it was.
Okay.
The loser of the 2-7 game taking on the loser of the play-in game to give that play-in team an opportunity to
get into the tournament.
And it ended up being actually quite a good game. Yankton won that game 5-4 over Sioux Falls. Another wowzer of a game, and Yankton really was starting to show some mettle. And as I said, we're going to hear more about Yankton throughout the tournament.
A little hometown crowd probably doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt a bit, and Sioux Falls got themselves into penalty trouble during the game. Yankton got themselves into penalty trouble during that game. So it was a very physical, very hard-fought game, but a lot of fun to watch. Consolation semifinal, first round. First game of the consolation semifinal was Oahe taking on Huron. Oahe with the 7-2 victory over Huron. Really no contest. I would guess that Huron was a little tired from that game the day before. They were a very short bench team.
Yeah.
And but Oahe really came out strong and just put the pedal down and never really let off.
So their boys JV has a short bench as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Finally, the semifinal. First game of the semifinal round. I'm almost at a loss for words because it was another one of those games that you just really need to see to believe. Sioux Center.
Well, you can see it because the DVD is
Yeah,
available,
there
right?
you go.
Okay.
Sioux Center taking on Brookings.
Uh-huh.
Sioux Center, the 5 seed, taking on the 1 seed Brookings Rangers, went to overtime.
Wow.
And it was a 2-1 victory by Brookings just a few minutes into overtime. But that entire game was contested the entire way through. Once again, I thought that Brookings looked a little sluggish, but they were playing their flow style of game that they have, their puck control game. Sioux Center came out and played a really good, very physical battle. And, great goaltending on both ends there. And it was, as I recall, Brookings outshot Sioux Center something like 5-1 in terms of numbers of shots.
Goal you got to work out.
Yeah. But in the end, Brookings goes on to the final. And
But there must have been a lot of energy in that rink.
Yeah, and then Sioux Center goes on to take the third place game on Sunday. In the other semifinal game, Rushmore Thunder, the 4 seed, Rushmore Thunder, I gotta figure that one out here. They were the 3 seed, taking on the Aberdeen Cougars. Aberdeen was the 2 seed, so it's the 2-3, another one of the classic mashups of the tournament. And Rushmore with the 3-1 victory.
An upset.
And Rushmore looked really, really solid. Once again, a very, very physical game. They got the Cougars off their game really from the get-go and never let go.
Sounds like
quite a good game. And then secondarily, the final consolation semifinal game, which was the winner of the early morning game, Yankton, taking on the other consolation play-in team, the Watertown Lakers.
All right.
Probably shouldn't have been a contest, but it was another one of those wonderful games. Yankton with a 4-3 victory over Watertown. Notice I've got 2 Yankton wins so far that have both been by 1 goal.
Wow.
Just incredible games.
They believe in miracles.
They believe in miracles. So, on to Sunday morning.
Okay.
We'll
Championship Sunday.
Championship Sunday. We'll start with the consolation final game, the 5th place game, which was Yankton taking on Oahe.
Bet that was a good battle.
Yeah, it was a great battle, and it went down again to a goal in roughly the middle part of the 3rd period. Yankton with a 3-2 victory over Oahe.
And this was for 3rd?
This was for 5th.
For 5th, okay.
For the consolation trophy.
Okay.
What another great game. It is a game that I unfortunately didn't get to see the whole thing because I had to check out of the hotel that morning and get my son to the game for his referee jobs and all these other things. So I watched bits and pieces of the end of it, and it was quite a game.
That's great.
Randy McKee was beside himself calling that game.
A little excited there.
Just a little bit. So on to the 3rd place game. This is a game that really was another barn burner. A barn burner until about the 3rd period. We'll just leave it at that. Sioux Center taking on Aberdeen. Once again, Sioux Center goes into this thing. They're the 5 seed or the 4 seed.
I thought Sioux Center was.
Let me see here. I've got to look at my list. Sioux Center was the 4 seed.
Okay.
And Aberdeen was the 2 seed.
That's right.
Okay.
I remember that now.
So Sioux Center with the victory, 6-3 over Aberdeen. Another upset. Sioux Center got off to a great start, but it was another game where their physical style of play just dominated the other team, and not much you can say.
Yeah.
And then the final, the championship game on Sunday, Rushmore taking on Brookings. And for the first time the entire weekend, I saw Brookings really kick it into gear.
They woke up, huh?
They woke up. They were playing. It was really a battle of two teams with completely different styles of play. Brookings has their puck control, passing, flow style of play, almost a European style. And Rushmore, I would consider that almost a Canadian style of play. Very physical, always about about punishment more than anything. About knocking the opposing team players off the puck, and using that as their method to get control of the game.
Okay.
And in the end, the Rangers did eke out the win 2-0, but it was an incredible, hard-fought game.
That makes it sound that much more interesting for next weekend, doesn't it?
It does. So the Rangers end up with the tournament victory, and it was a battle. But in the process, Randy and I sat back and tried to figure out who were the players from the various teams that we thought were notable players from the tournament on the weekend.
All right.
And so you
did a little bit of a dream team?
Yeah, a little bit of a dream team.
Just notable players.
I mean, these are the players that, between the two of us, we thought really stood out for the various teams. We'll start with Yankton. Yankton had 4 players that, in my mind, just dominated play. And as mentioned by the fact that they had that many games that they won, they played more games in the tournament than any other team did.
Oh.
And won 3 of the 4. So what a great tournament weekend for them.
Great weekend.
But they had 4 players. Austin Barger, who was just a scoring machine for Yankton over the weekend. Colby Benson, another player that I thought did a really good job. And then we had 2 that were physical and really made their presence known through probably more through penalties and through physical play. And those were Tim Cross and Trey Bakke. I got to call both of those names a lot during the game, but more so because they were coming to the box. But I thought that their play really helped the team out quite a bit. For Rushmore, we've got 3 picked out. We had Corbin Skyberg, their goaltender Alex Robin, who was just incredible. The fact that Brookings outshot Rushmore, I something like 38-10 in that final game, and yet the score was only 2-0. That shows you how good that goaltender was. And then Brian Peterwright as well from Rushmore had quite a few points on the weekend, and once again a good overall player. Yeah. And we've got quite a group from Brookings. They were the champs; they deserve it.
Yeah.
Hunter Newman, another player that scored quite a few goals in the tournament weekend. Jordan Vlamick, Akron Prodol, and Kobe Ishin. Those 2 on Saturday and Sunday, I probably called those 2 names out more than anything. I'm watching Prodol, and they're almost twins on the ice in terms of how they play the game. But you could always tell they were the 2 quickest kids on the ice, and I thought they did a great job. And then finally, a really big shout out to Lexi Lynn, the goaltender from Brookings. A girl goaltender on the JV, and she did incredible.
That's what I've heard, and I've not had the pleasure of seeing any of the JV games to speak of.
Yeah,
so
I was just really
that's
very appealing. That she did a really good job.
That's great.
And from Oahe, we have 3 we'd like to shout out to: Josh Albright, Chase Bolte, and Caden Eaton. Once again, 3 players that really stood out for Oahe. Sioux Center. Another goaltender there, Trey Vermeer. He just did a great job on the weekend. And then we've got their 2 players that were doing the scoring, Dan Vrugdenhill and Jaron Brew. Brew actually there's brothers that were on the team, and there were a couple times it was the Brew from Brew on the goals. So, but Jaron, just an incredible player as well. Finally, the last 3 teams we've got 3 from Aberdeen. We've got Desmond Dean, Isaac Casanova, and Derek Hunstad.
Okay.
Those 3 did a wonderful job as well. For Huron, Tyler Bush really played well in the tournament. And then for Watertown, we've got Braden Shriver, another player that I thought did a really good job. Randy pointed that one out to me more than anything. And then we've got 2 from the Sioux Falls Flyers. Even though they were eliminated from the tournament, it had to go home early. Lucas Anderson scored most of the goals for the team, And Bryce Christie was another one that I thought he scored quite a few goals, or had some points, but he also had a really good physical style of play in those tournaments against two very physical teams. So
Oh, great.
those are our JV
Notable
tournament
players.
notable players.
That's pretty awesome. I would love to have seen more of the games. It really frustrates the heck out of me that
Yeah,
that the tournaments are happening at the same time.
yeah. So
You know what would be great would be if the boys JV and the girls JV were at the same time in the same location, and then we could catch it all.
there's been some dreaming about that, and you never know, it may happen
Yeah.
sometime
And the boys
down the road.
varsity and girls varsity.
Yeah, yeah.
That would be fun.
Well, that's it for the JV tournament wrap-up.
Okay.
Why don't we take a quick break, talk about one of our sponsors,
All right.
and I think we've got Bert at Hockey Headquarters.
Yes. Our good friend Bert at Hockey Headquarters.
You know, Bert does such a nice job working with the with players and coaches and referees and you name it. If you like hockey or you are part of hockey, stop in and say hi to Bert, and he'll take care of any of your needs.
And, you know, I kind of say Bert has the Hockey Headquarters is the hockey shop with a heart.
Yeah,
So
so
I have
much.
a little challenge for you, Bert. I talked to our good friend Alex Meyer from the Oahe, Billings Bulls,
Yeah.
former Oahe Capitals goalie, and he is out of rehab now, but he's doing outpatient rehab.
You're right.
Staying at a hotel with his mom in Billings, and going back and forth for his rehabilitation.
Mm-hmm.
Had a team picture today. Actually got to put his uniform on. His mom said no skates though. Stay off your skates. And so he said, of course I put them on.
Yeah.
But he said they had cut my laces off, so I had to tape them on. So I thought I'd give our good friend Bert a call and see if he might have some laces for Alex to put back in his skates. But Alex is doing better, so
good.
Hey, Alex.
Alex,
talking
man,
to
we
you
miss
today.
you. We miss you back here in Sioux Falls, and Preston family says hi, by the way, and we hope you're recovering, and we hope you get the skates laced back up here very
Yeah.
soon and get back on the ice with Billings. Probably not this season, but maybe next season.
Yeah. And you know, maybe Kelly will bring you down. Maybe his mom will bring him down to Brookings this weekend.
I sure hope so. I'd love to see you and say hi.
There's going to be some great hockey going on, and tell Coach that they're going to miss out on some great players if they're not in Brookings.
Mhm.
So shout out to Hockey Headquarters and to our buddy Alex.
Very much. So moving on, we've got our girls varsity.
You know, the Thunderdome was wonderful. They had everything set up. They had great internet hardwire in there to set up, and people were really good about trying to stay out of the picture. We started off Friday night games. Friday morning games. The first one was Rushmore, the hometown team, and Watertown. It seems like every time at the girls varsity tournament, Rushmore and Watertown pair up.
Yep.
So hometown crowd got in there. It was an 8-2. Probably nothing real surprising there. Then our next game up was Brookings and Oahe. And you know, Brookings came in as the number 2 seed. Rushmore, I believe, was the number 3. Aberdeen was 1 and Sioux Falls were 5. So the Brookings Oahe game was a 5-1. And again, the Friday games are usually a little different.
Right.
Then we get to the Sioux Falls and Mitchell game. That was a tight battle. It wound up being 5-4. It was one of those games that you had to be there.
Yeah.
It was really a good battle. I'm just going to go back and see if I can find that game real quick. It was just a fun one. I'm trying to remember when that final goal got scored there. I got the wrong game. Hold up. When it finally the final goal got scored on that one. Here we go. Oh, it took me to the wrong day. That's what's going on. I got my schedule all mixed up. Anyway, we'll just go back to the other one.
Yeah, there you go.
And then the real surprise, the game was our 1-8 game.
Yeah.
Aberdeen, number 1, taking on Huron, number 8. Huron also has a very short bench. They have a total of 7 skaters and a goaltender.
Yes.
Their goaltender is a 7th grader.
Mm-hmm.
And Alyssa Ferguson did a fantastic job for them all weekend. They had Hope Gaethel and Brooke Cheddar were doing a great job for them there. So it's 1-8.
Right.
Aberdeen takes a while to score. Huron ties them up. There was a minute remaining in the first period when Aberdeen finally got another goal.
Yeah.
So it just was going into the locker room 2-1. Those girls from Huron were pretty enthused coming back out. And that group of girls from the Huron All-Stars can play with anybody for a period and a half.
Yeah.
But you cannot expect them to skate hard for 51 minutes.
No.
And so it does start to wear in, and it did wind up going into runtime, and Aberdeen won 10-1. So then we go to Saturday morning.
Right.
First game Saturday morning was Watertown, who had lost to Rushmore the day before, and Oahe, who had lost to Brookings
Right.
on Friday. What a game.
Yeah.
Oahe basically, I think everyone pretty much thought they had it won.
Right.
And Watertown kept coming back and tying them. Then they wind up going into overtime period.
Wow.
I think there was 26 seconds left on the clock when, I can't remember, I think it was Kendra Kranz tied it up and put them into overtime. And Oahe went down, had several good opportunities that looked like they were probably going to score because they really seemed to be pretty much dominating the play. And couldn't get one in, go down to the other end. And the winning goal is scored. And Watertown wins to advance.
Watertown with a 6-5 overtime victory. Wow.
Yep.
That's incredible.
It was a good game. Then our next game was at 1 o'clock on Saturday, and that was Mitchell versus Huron. Of course, Mitchell had that tough battle with Sioux Falls the day before,
Right.
and they were looking to avenge that loss, and that 5-4 loss the day before. Huron, again, did a great job hanging with them, but you can only go so far
Yeah.
with 7 skaters and a goalie. There are 3 skaters there that never leave the ice the whole game. Wound up being a 9-1, did go into run time. Our next game up then was Rushmore, who had come in at number 3, playing Brookings, who came in at number 2.
Right.
And it was a battle. It was a great battle. And Rushmore wound up pulling ahead,
Wow.
3-2. What a battle, though.
So the 2 seed knocked out in the
The 2 seed was knocked out by the 3 seed.
Okay.
And then we go down to the 4 seed was Sioux Falls, who had advanced against Aberdeen, the top seed. And Sioux Falls just could not get anything going on the offense. They had really wound up being a 6-0 loss for them. And it was just unfortunate. Their shot count was very, very low.
Yeah.
And Aberdeen's shot count was up there pretty darn good. So that wrapped up the games on Saturday, set up the stage for Sunday.
Right.
Get to Championship Sunday.
And
Started off.
something unique in the girls varsity tournament that they don't do in the other varsity tournaments, and that's the 7th place game.
Yes, and I was just going to say, first started off in the morning with the 7th place game. Oahe came down to play Huron
Okay.
because they had both lost in the other rounds.
Right.
And so 7:30 in the morning, it's a 7th place game. You know,
Oh, and not only 7:30 in the morning, but 7:30 in the morning on the day after daylight savings time kicks in.
So
Yes.
I was up at like 4:30 in the morning to get out there for that game.
Yeah.
And so they wind up going into playing at 7:30 in the morning. I'm going to get this pulled up here because I did not have that updated on the one stat. And I got to tell you, that was one of my favorite games of the whole weekend. It was a fantastic game. And I'm not usually, you kind of wonder about 7th and 8th place.
Yeah.
Why you should play it, if you should play it. They just played their hearts out. The Huron, those 5 skaters, I wanted to say, girls, don't you realize that there's only 7 of you there, and that you just already played 2 games, and that your sleep was probably not that great last night.
Right.
They skated as if they were fresh every time
It's amazing.
on the ice. It was amazing. Destiny Berry opened it up for the Capitals with the first goal. Karen Brocky added the second, and then Grace Nedved. So they were up. Oahe Capitals were up 3-0. Then Tatum Neubauer, with an assist from Hope Gaethel and Brooke Shetter, puts one in, 3-1.
Okay.
Have the Huron girls energized. I mean, they were skating hard the whole time.
Yeah.
So they go to the locker room at the end of the 3-1 for Oahe. Come back out, Owyhee gets another one. Grace Nedved puts another one in, and then Destiny Berry puts another one in. So it's 5-1.
5-1.
Then toward the end, there was like 14 seconds left in the second period. Brooke Cheddar teamed up with Hope Gaithel and Ashton Cobb and put one in, 5-2. Still feels like it's attainable going
Right.
into the locker room. They come out for the third period. Brooke Cheddar from Hope Gaithel. Now we're 5-3. Minute 17 in.
Okay.
7 seconds later, they switch it around. Hope Gaithel from Brooke Cheddar. We're 5-4.
Wow.
And then Owyhee came back. Karen Brocky scored another goal. 6-4. 15:31 left. 15:31 down into the third period. You know, we've got a minute and a half left. Hope Gaithel and Brooke Cheddar team up for another one, and it's 6-5. And everybody in the whole place is going crazy because it looks like there's possibly going to be a tie, but
Yeah.
that's where it stood. So it was a fun game.
That sounds that way. It sounds like it was a good time.
And then we go to the consolation, the 5th place. And it's Watertown and Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a battle back and forth pretty good. There are some tough hits in that game.
Okay.
And I want to pull that up real quick here because I don't have my final score. They're back and forth, and Mitchell starts to really pull ahead and dominate. And Watertown is working hard on it. Toward the end, there was like 2 seconds left in the game. There's a tough hit, and folks, I have to apologize for the language that came out on the broadcast. Parents are a lot of times forget that they're not on the ice
Right.
or on the bench coaching or
Right.
on the ice
Right.
with the whistle. It was a hard hit. And it just kind of, I'm getting my game's a little confused here now.
Yeah.
But it wound up being 6-3. The Mitchell Marlins fans were having a good time. That actually came in another game, so I'll need to come back to that.
Okay.
Because I do want to address that.
Okay.
So that was our 5th place game. And then our 3rd place game was between Brookings and Sioux Falls. And that one, I'll go back to that one here. Refresh my memory a little bit.
Yeah, it wasn't even a close game.
It wasn't a close game. I'm
No.
trying to remember exactly what happened in there. But again, Sioux Falls could not really pull together
Right.
an offense. Went 2 games without a score.
Right. 7-0 looks like
Yeah.
was the final,
Yeah.
but probably a tough game, I'm guessing, for Brittany.
It was a tough game for Brittany. I felt bad for her. But one of the things that I did mention to Brittany afterwards, I said to Brittany, look up at the scoreboard and realize that you saved twice as many shots as you guys made.
Right.
And, you know, you've got to have the offense and the defense going.
Right.
It was a frustrating game for the girls.
Yeah.
I could tell. Because the Sioux Falls girls were really struggling with that one. But
Yep.
it wound up being a Brookings victory. And they wound up finishing how they came in to a certain. Brookings
Right.
actually was supposed to be second. They came in
Right.
second. They finished third.
Right.
Sioux Falls went in fourth. They finished
Finished
fourth.
fourth.
So that brings us up to the championship match.
Yes.
With Rushmore and Aberdeen. And Rushmore had a crazy crowd there.
Yep.
They were having a lot of fun. The Aberdeen girls were just fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
They combined, their play was amazing. They were deking and dangling all over the place.
Right.
And just putting shot after shot. It wound up being pretty handily Aberdeen.
Yeah.
Aberdeen.
5-2 win.
Yeah. They just
So-
were really fun to watch. So
Yeah.
that covers the girls' varsity.
And I think you
I
got
gotta go
some.
back to that
Go ahead.
game.
Oh, you got another. Yeah, that's right.
I did want to talk about that game. I remember which one that was. It must have been the Watertown Mitchell. Well, we'll have to come back to another. But we did have some foul language on there, and
Okay.
it came out on the broadcast, and it was really I was stunned. I wasn't quite sure what to do, whether I should suspend the whole thing. There wasn't much time left in the game.
Right.
But we have to just remember that we can't.
Yeah. You can't control what goes on around
We can't
you.
control what goes around us, and I was really apologetic and sorry for that language there.
Mm-hmm.
But I also want to remind parents that if you see Hockey 605 there with a camera, and you think you may not be able to control your language, you might want to move somewhere else, because I think I not only got the language, but I got the person who said it, because it was where it was at.
Yeah.
The camera. So, and we did also notable players from the tournament.
Well, cool. Go ahead.
So,
Who do you got?
we have from the champions, Aberdeen, we have Haley Huff, Haley Holland, and Haley Gould.
Haley,
The three Haleys. Okay, so those three Haleys we got out of the way.
Right.
Fantastic play. Haley Huff is just a phenomenal little goalie.
Yeah, she is.
And Haley Holland and Haley Gould were just doing everything out there on the ice. But two other players from Aberdeen, Madison Ogdahl and Danielle Hintz, also had fantastic weekend. Danielle Hintz, I think Danny had 2 goals, I believe, in the championship game, and 1 or 2 assists. So,
Right.
and from Brookings, this was a team, a trio that I've started calling them the terrible trio, because you don't want them coming at you. Jordan Peterson, Jaden Peterson, and Bethany Rennick. I
Right.
think with just a couple of exceptions, they teamed up on all the goals all weekend long.
Mm-hmm.
Then in Huron, Brooke Cheddar and Hope Gaithel were really, kudos, ladies. You did a fantastic job. You all did a fantastic job, but it was pretty impressive watching them at work out there, and especially knowing that they were not getting breaks.
Yep.
Mitchell, they were a fun team to watch. Kylie Barrington was just everywhere she needed to be. Bailey Hone,
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. And Kaylin Smith really stepped up and had a great tournament.
Well, very good.
Younger player, just did a great job. For Oahe, it was the Destiny Berry show. I had to frequently I'd say, oh, and here comes Destiny Berry again.
Okay.
And here comes Destiny Berry again. And I remember at one point in there, I said, rest assured she's going to goal. I didn't even get shoot out. She'd already shot, and that was a goal.
Okay.
Karen Brocky also had a great tournament. And a shout out to these Rushmore ladies. Anna Veazey in the net,
Mm-hmm.
taking that Aberdeen pressure. Oh, shot after shot in that championship. Anna had a great tournament. She made some phenomenal saves over the weekend, and made some great ones against Aberdeen as well.
Right.
I don't know how anybody could take that kind of. They just were coming at it from everywhere, and they skated so fast. Abby Fenhouse Coyle was another one of those. I said, and here comes Abby Fenhouse Coyle. And here comes Fenhouse Coyle. I said that a lot over the weekend.
Cool.
Cheyenne Troutman and Maddie Schultz both had a great tournament
yeah.
for the ladies of the Rushmore. For Sioux Falls, Brittany Corcoran had a lot of pressure on her over the whole weekend long in the goal. And she made some great saves. And any goalie knows that they can't save them all, but she
Right.
saved a lot more than went in. And Molly Drexler, of course, did a fantastic job. You know, I tried to get interviews with as many of the seniors as I possibly could. And I was holding it all together. Went to do Molly's interview and made a comment about how we're really going to miss her on the ice, and I just lost it. I just lost it in the interview. And here's Molly having to comfort me. But it was an emotional weekend with
Yeah.
all the seniors being done. So, Molly, I'm going to miss you, and I'm sorry I cried in our interview. Robin Hatcher, of course, was everywhere she needed to be. And Taylor Dolly had a great weekend as well.
Oh, very cool.
I know they all would like to have scored a lot more, but
Yeah.
they were working their tails off out there. Hatcher and Dolly were just doing everything that they possibly could to score. It just wasn't working. And then from Watertown, we have 2 sets of sisters that are pretty impressive from Watertown. Tara and Tiffany Heyman, and Mackenzie and Kendra Kranz.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Kranz, Heyman
Yep.
type combination play, and it's fun to watch that. It's cool.
Yeah.
And so we'll be losing one senior. Tara will graduate this year, but that's still a pretty young squad in Watertown. And there was some great goaltending. Some, as we talked about earlier, Randy, there's some girls that have in South Dakota that are just some fantastic goalies. And
Right.
I would love to have put all of them on the list, but we wanted to try and keep it within reasonable count. So shout out, ladies. You made the notable players from the girls varsity tournament.
There you go. So, real quick shout out to another one of our sponsors before we head on down the road
Yes.
to the boys varsity.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Bargain Bites. Bargain Bites is a great sponsor
Yeah.
for Hockey 605 and have the great refurbished computers. They are an official Microsoft refurbisher,
Yep.
and they have what you need down there, folks, and you won't believe their prices. The kind of equipment that you can get for a lot less money when you go with refurbished. And they're right here in South Dakota. They ship everywhere.
They've got a great deal. You mentioned Hockey 605,
Yep.
and they'll give you
Get
10%
10%
off
off.
anything.
And I believe they're still doing their tax deal, too.
Oh, cool.
So I think it's an honor of tax season coming up April 15th.
And they've got a store just off of Benson Road on Cliff Avenue.
Yep.
Very
So,
cool. And
shout
then
out to Bargain Bites. Check
one
them out.
one other quick note here. Don't forget, as I cough, tournament DVDs are available from Hockey 605's website. Randy and Carol, you guys do such a nice job of
Thank
putting
you.
those things together. It's a chore, it's a job, and I know it because I did it for quite a few years. Nancy and I were doing kind of the same thing for a while, and but what a great way to take home some memories from these tournaments is to purchase a DVD or 3 or 7 or 15 from
Or the whole season.
or the whole season.
I did have people ask. We do, the first DVD is $25. What a bargain
Yeah.
to have a 90-minute memory of your kids play. And then the second DVD is only $20, so
Right.
we discount it. And I did have someone ask me, well, can I combine from different tournaments? Can I put some DVDs from my son's Bantam A tournament with my daughter's varsity tournament? Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We're pretty easy to get
Oh,
along
yeah.
with, pretty easy to work with, I think.
And all these videos are shot high definition. They've got the commentary from the McKees.
Yeah.
Great bargain at $25 for a DVD, and the
Yes.
second one's beyond that. And help support Hockey 605 really, and keep everybody on the air.
Thanks.
Right.
That always helps.
Yeah, absolutely.
We enjoy doing it. And we like people. I hate the idea of all that great video footage sitting there and not being in somebody's home and in their
Yeah,
their
I
treasure
I
chest.
calculated the amount of video footage I have at home a couple of weeks ago. I need about a 20 terabyte drive to archive what I have, and
Yeah.
that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, we kind of have that situation too, and so we can't keep them forever.
No,
And it's kind of hard to do because when you throw it away, it's gone forever.
it's gone. It's gone.
So I'm hoping that people, if they want it, that they'll get in touch with us before that happens.
Well, on to boys varsity. We're going to start with the only game that was played last week, and it was a big game. It had seeding potential in it.
That's right.
That was the game between Mitchell and Sioux Falls 1. It was on Friday night last weekend here at the Iceplex. Looked like it was a crazy wild game, but ultimately Sioux Falls 1 did score the
Okay.
victory 4-1,
Okay.
which gave Sioux Falls 1 then the number 2 seed for the tournament this weekend.
Okay.
So here are our tournament seeds going in. We'll start at the bottom, and we've got 2 games that are going to take place tomorrow night. One will happen in Huron. That'll be Sioux Falls taking on Huron, Sioux Falls 2. That game is at 7 o'clock at the rink in Huron.
Bergman Arena.
Bergman Arena, thank you very much. And then also a game will take place in Mitchell tomorrow night at 7. That is the Mitchell-Yankton game.
Okay.
So we have the 8 and 9 seeds playing each other and the 7 and 10 seed playing each other for the right to move on into the tournament.
Okay.
Winner moves on, loser stays home.
Okay.
So the Boys State Varsity Tournament, the only tournament in the state that is an 8-team tournament only. So a little different setup. So we've got 7 through 10, as we just spoke about. 6th seed is the Aberdeen Cougars. They have 19 points right now, barely eking out Mitchell, who has 18 points. The 5 seed are the Watertown Lakers with 24 points. Listen how close these are, by the way.
Yeah, I'm just-
Watertown with 24 points. Oahu's the 4 seed with 26 points.
Wow.
Brookings is the 3 seed because of head-to-head play with Oahu. The same number of points, 26 points. Brookings did score more points in the head-to-head, so that gives them the 3 seed. Sioux Falls is the 2 seed with 28 points, and Rushmore is the 1 seed with 32 points. Now, this is going to be a very interesting tournament, and we've got lots of things to talk about, but you take a look at those top 6 teams in this tournament, and I firmly believe that any one of them can win this thing.
At different times during the season, Rushmore has been in the lead.
Yep.
Sioux Falls has been in the lead. Oahe has been in the lead. I don't know that Brookings has.
I don't believe they ever did because they had a really rough start.
Yeah, they started off pretty rough.
But they have been hot as of late.
They peak at the right time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in that first 4, 3 of them have held the league lead before. So.
Well, and so here's the top, the top 4 we've got. You said Rushmore, Sioux Falls, Brookings, and Oahe. Rushmore has been beaten by Sioux Falls and by Brookings. Sioux Falls and Brookings have split. Sioux Falls, I believe, lost twice to Oahe, if I remember correctly, or maybe I know they lost at least once in overtime.
I think so, and I thought Rushmore lost to Oahe once.
You know what? I don't even know anymore. All I know is that it's been crazy season this year with a lot of parity, and those top 6 teams are going to beat each other up this weekend in Brookings.
Rushmore did not lose to Oahe. Yeah,
so
it's going to be crazy.
We'll start with
Rushmore has those 2 losses.
We'll start with our bracket and how the games are going to play out on Friday, and then I'm going to challenge us each to pick a winner, which is.
Should we first start off with who's going to make it into the championship?
Yeah, I think we will.
So
who's going to make it to? I'm going to say even who's going to make it in from. How about who's going to make it in from the?
Oh, you're really
7-10.
Me. Okay.
Yeah, so we've got those 2 games that are happening on tomorrow night, Tuesday night. We've got Mitchell Yankton. My opinion, I don't think there's really much of a. I think Mitchell's going to win that one probably handily. Huron and Sioux Falls. Now, I have a little bit of an insight to that game.
Okay.
In that they are the 2 teams that played each other last year for the play-in.
Oh.
Same 2 teams, same place. Last year, Sioux Falls won. They were the 9 seed going in. They had not won a game all season. They beat Huron to get into the tournament.
Wow.
So this year, they do have a victory over Huron, in Huron. They do have a victory over Aberdeen. Sioux Falls does.
Okay.
And
that game is being played in Huron?
In Huron because Huron's the higher seed.
Okay.
I have a feeling that Sioux Falls 2 is going to make it through that again. I think it's going to be Mitchell and Sioux Falls 2 heading to the tournament, and Huron and Yankton staying home. That's my feeling.
Gosh. I haven't seen Huron play.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Huron. Just so we have a little.
That's perfectly fine.
I've seen the Sioux Falls 2 guys play, and I think they have a very good chance.
Now, here's the problem, is that whoever loses that game, whoever wins that game, goes up against Rushmore in the first round.
Well,
so
you go against the top seed.
Yeah,
if you're
exactly.
Last, so.
So here are the games on Friday. We do have the first game on Friday. They're actually going to do 2 consecutive games on Friday. They're going to play a game at 11 o'clock in the blue rink. That's the 3 seed and the 6 seed. The 3 seed being Brookings, and the 6 seed is Aberdeen.
And we will be live streaming both of those.
Okay. So Brookings taking on Aberdeen. That'll be at the blue rink at 11 o'clock, and then at the red rink at 11:30, it's the 2 and 7 seed. So Sioux Falls taking on whoever the winner of the Mitchell-Yankton game is. That's at 11:30. That'll be at the primary rink there at the Larson. And then at 2 o'clock, we have the 4 and 5 game, Oahe-Watertown, which should absolutely be at Humdinger. I'm really looking forward to that one. I am going to be doing
I just love 4 or 5 games.
I agree. I caught the draw in PA. I'm going to help out with PA and music up there and do some other things this weekend. But I caught the first 2 games in the red rink on Friday. I'll be doing PA for, so I get to PA the Sioux Falls game, and I'll also do the Oahe-Watertown game, and I'm going to have a great time. Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully by then I'll have my full voice back. I may need it.
Yes, you will. I did go through quite a few throat lozenges this weekend.
2 packs of Ricola this weekend for me.
I actually went to the Ricolas too, but I had 3 different packs of different kinds.
So then we have the at 4:30 the 1 seed, 8 seed Brookings taking on the winner of the
Mitchell,
the Huron Sioux Falls game. And then everything from there moves on to the rest of the weekend. I don't ultimately culminating in the state game, which will be at 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon at the rink there at the Larson Iceplex, or our Larson Ice Center. Excuse me.
Center.
I'm in the
Iceplex. That will be at the Larson Ice
okay.
Center.
It all.
It's been a weekend.
My brain's frozen, man. But you know the tournament looks like it's going to be pretty cool. So what are we going to pick? We're going to pick who's going to make it into the finals.
Yeah, let's pick who's going to go into the finals. Into the final.
I have my pick. I think I know who it's going to be.
You think you know what it's going to be? I have my pick too.
Okay, you go ahead.
I am going to go with Rushmore and Oahe.
Rushmore Oahe. I can say that I agree with you partly. Partly. I think in the final, we're going to see Rushmore Brookings.
Well, hopefully we're each half right.
Yeah.
At least.
Here's my reasoning behind it is that I think that Brookings and Sioux Falls are going to play each other in that semifinal round, and I'm going to have a it can't be Rushmore Oahe.
It can't be. I'm just realizing that they'll eliminate. It's got to be.
So
I'm gonna have to go with you on Rushmore Brookings.
Rushmore Brookings.
Yep.
I think that Sioux Falls is. I think Brookings is a hot team right now. They've got hot goaltending. They've got great skating. As much as my heart wants to think that Sioux Falls is going to make it, I really just think Brookings is going to get through that, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But ultimately, for the championship,
Rushmore.
I have to go with Rushmore, and
yeah.
I would really like to. Okay, here's my heart. My heart is with the all of us out here at Eastern South Dakota, and I will guarantee you that I'm going to be there at the rink, down at the scorers table on Sunday afternoon, rooting my heart out for whoever the team is from Eastern South Dakota in the final.
Well, see, now I'm from the hills, so
yeah.
And like I told somebody out there, I love them all.
Yeah.
They're all my kids, as far as I'm concerned.
No, I understand. So we both picked Rushmore. We'll see how we do.
Yeah. Well, I just think they've got a really good winning tradition there, and they've just been kind of plowing through everybody. And any team is going to have its moments.
And once again, these are just picks for fun.
Yeah.
We have you got to play the game.
Yes, that's
you got to
right.
play the game.
Everybody's got to play
and
the game.
I think with the exception of Aberdeen out for the girls, I don't think either one of us picked the right team on. Or did we? I don't even remember anymore. I think I picked a boys JV. I picked somebody totally other than Brookings. I thought they were going to get upset.
I can't remember either. You know, that it's just for fun.
Yeah, exactly. So
probably should have gone. We probably should be writing these down and revisiting them.
Well, there's a record of it on YouTube. I guarantee you.
Yeah, there is a record on YouTube. Somebody's going to go back and check now.
Yeah, certainly.
See how far off we were.
Well, you know what? It's late. It's Monday night. It's time to go home and get some rest.
Is.
We both. I got work tomorrow, and I just found out I may have to go over to Mitchell tomorrow night and watch that.
Really?
Yeah. My Trevor just got Drew to help officiate that game. So
Let us know.
I will.
Because that's not that far away. I would go and watch that game too.
All right. Cool.
That'd be fun.
Anyway, you folks have a great evening. And just a quick, once again, we want to say thank you for all you've done to help support South Dakota hockey. And from all of us here at Hockey 605, thanks.
Thank you very much. I'm Carol McKee.
I'm Randy Preston.
And you
are Hockey 605.